Hey everyone, Jack here, Talk Norwich City. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. Back once again for a match review and back once again to discuss a 0-0 draw. Norwich City drawing 0-0 with Brighton and Hove Albion at Carrow Road yesterday. And actually a fairly exciting game, I must say. I feel as if despite there being no goals, I did indeed get my money's worth. And as always, these match reviews are brought to you by the people at One Football. Glancing through the stats yesterday, very surprised to see that we had just 35% possession, which feels alarmingly low for a Daniel Farke side at home against a Brighton team. But that was all we had. We had 15 shots on goal. I make that 85 shots this season, and we've scored one from open play. I think we'll get onto that later on. Just a 20% shot accuracy with 3 of our 15 shots being on target. But there were some big opportunities in there. Norwich City remain bottom of the table on 2 points. We are one behind both Newcastle and Burnley at time of recording. And Brighton remain or go up to 4th. Incredibly, with their point against us. So, on paper, a fairly good point. I've obviously had time to reflect on this performance. I left Carrow Road not angry. I'd say that's maybe over-egging it slightly, but disappointed that we only walked away with a point. And that might seem harsh, but it's a feeling I've had a lot over the past kind of 3 seasons with Norwich City being in the Premier League the last time out, where you just walk away and think, I just feel as if most other teams get something or get like 3 points from that game. And granted, Brighton had chances as well. I think the VAR decision against Neil Maupay probably gets given 50% of the time. It didn't. I think that was the right decision. Having watched it back, it looked more of a dive at the game. Having watched it back, there was a slight bit of contact, but even so, I think the referee made a good call there. And he had a really good opportunity late on, which was, smashed across the edge of the box, and he should probably be scoring there. So there were chances for Brighton, but despite Norwich City only having 35% possession, we had the opportunity to win that game. And I think Josh Sargent's chance was the best of the bunch. It was a horrible error from Brighton's back line, and it gifted Josh Sargent time, space, and an open goal to just put his foot through it and reach the back of the net just before half time. It would have been a really big goal in Norwich City's season had that gone in. I sit in the Barclay and I had the perfect view of it. I was kind of in line with Josh Sargent, and at no point during that whole melee did it look like Sargent was going to hit the back of the net. He just looks like a man really needing confidence in front of goal. And I think when we signed Josh Sargent, the reports were, look, he's an incredibly hard worker, he's physical, he's up for it, but he's not necessarily a goal scorer. And I think we're seeing that. I think he lacks the kind of Pookie type ability in front of goal. But with that being said, like, he's still an asset to this football team, I believe. He's very good in the air. He picks up scraps. He gives opportunity to Pookie, and I do like the way that they work in a 2. But unfortunately, when you're in the Premier League and when you're fighting at the bottom of the table, as we are, you need to be taking them opportunities. You are rarely gifted such an opportunity in a big game like it was yesterday. And I think that's what left me disappointed that we walked away with a point. However, having had a bit of time to reflect and a little cup of tea this morning in my nice mug, I'm going to try and find some positives. And I think these performances are leaving me with some kind of confusion, because I don't think we've seen these type of performances from Daniel Farke's Norwich before. And what I mean by that is it's a very pragmatic approach. It's a very balanced approach. And it's one of caution. And I think with Farke before, certainly in the Championship, it's like, well, you score 3 and we'll score 4. And that's the way we're going to do it. It's going to be carnage. It's going to be good fun. And we'll see what happens. Farke has learned that you can't do that in the Premier League with the squad we've got. And I think the criticism of Daniel before has been that he's maybe not flexible enough in his approach. And we certainly can't hand that to Daniel Farke now, because he has switched things up. He's changed formations up, he's changed personnel up, and he's changed basically the way we play. We've gone with this 5 at the back, and that defensively is working. I think Yanulis has looked excellent at left back and slightly more assured than Brandon Williams. We know what Max Aarons is about, and the back 3's actually impressed me. Ben Gibson, Grant Hanley and Ozan Kabak. I think my only criticism maybe of Gibson yesterday was his distribution wasn't the best, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not a massive issue at the moment. In front of him, we had Matthias Norman, who I think is a really outstanding player. I love watching Matthias Norman. He had that wonderful run when he was sort of just doing keepy-ups and then nutmegged out their defender on the left-hand side. I thought that was excellent. And I think Norman's that sprinkling of quality that we need. And I think the levels that Norman has been showing, yes, is positive, but it does show how glaringly obvious it is that we lack quality in other areas of the pitch. I'm getting negative again. Let me stay positive. So Norman has balanced that midfield nicely, and I think he's been a welcome addition. And then we get up front, and I'm just not seeing enough at the moment. And I think that's been my frustration. The issue isn't getting shots on goal. We've had plenty of them, as I just mentioned. I think we've actually had more shots than Brentford this season, or certainly very close, and they've obviously scored plenty more goals than us. My big annoyance, and I guess you can't have everything in this game. We're keeping clean sheets, which is great, and a big mention to Tim Krul yesterday, who I thought was excellent. For me, his best game of the season. But it does mean that we are going into games with our best players on the bench. Milo Rashica, record signing. Christos Jolis, record signing. Todd Cantwell, I know there's been issues personally with him this season. I hope that Todd is all okay in his personal life. But you've got Todd Cantwell, who isn't featuring. I mean, you could even add like Kieran Dowell to that list as well, who kind of showed elements of promise last year. And it just feels like these games are screaming out for a Christos Jolis. Now look, we have to shore things up before we start tinkering with the attacking elements of the pitch. I do get that. I promise you I do get that. But suddenly we're already, 8 games into the season, and we don't have time. That's the thing. We don't have time. And home games against Brighton and going back to home games against Watford are the types of games you need to be winning if you want to remain in the Premier League. I know Brighton have been good this season, but there was an opportunity for Norwich yesterday, as there was against Leicester when we played them. And granted, that was slightly different because we got a bit unlucky with refereeing decisions. But I need to see more going forwards. And I think you can do that with defensive stability as well. I don't know if it works with the 5 at the back, because then you don't have the flexibility with your attacking players. But I need to be seeing more of Jolis. I need to be seeing more of Rashica. And when Cantwell's good to go again, I need to be seeing more of Todd Cantwell, because suddenly you've got a creative outlet then. Cantwell was excellent in the cup game against Liverpool, I want to say, or was it Bournemouth? One of the cup games. Jolis was brilliant against Bournemouth in the cup. I know it's championship opposition, but I think that kind of replicates to the games that we've had at Carrow Road. So I'm just left feeling a bit, and that's not a bad thing, because before these games against Burnley and Brighton, it was dismay at the way that Norwich were playing. At least we've got defensive solidity, and at least yesterday we did create chances. So that's positive. But if we want to stay in this Premier League, and of course we all do, we need to start scoring goals. We've scored 2 goals this season. That's not going to keep you in the league. So once we start to get that attacking formation and fluidity going, I think Norwich do have opportunities to win football matches. Look, it doesn't help that we've now got Chelsea away from home up next, but that's the Premier League for you, and that's what we've got to contend with. So let me know what you thought of the game. I think I may have come away slightly more negative than other people, but I wasn't basing that performance in isolation, really. I'm kind of looking at the season gone and the fact we've only got 2 points, we've only scored 2 goals, and I just feel like this is a a narrative that we've seen before and we kind of know how it ends. That's where my frustration comes from. But of course, there were positives to take. So let me know how you're feeling. I'm really keen to hear. As I mentioned at the start of the video, a big thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring this content, and I will see you in our next video. Have a lovely day. See you later. Bye-bye.